The operational art of war combines combat and movement into one phase, and that phase is divided up into tactical rounds. Now, to explain tactical rounds is a little difficult, so there's a link beneath this video and above the comments section that will take you to an article that gives the details of the tactical rounds in depth along with some analysis. In this video, we're just going to take a look at, in practice, what happens. And the things to keep in mind are your movement allowances compared to units that you're initiating combat with. Your movement allowances are easy to see up here in the upper right, your total for the turn and what's been expended so far. The other important area to keep looking at is this circle of stars over here to the right. The circle of stars will keep you informed as to what's going on throughout the turn. So let's get some combats going here, and I'll move these units up and then set up an attack with them. Now you can see already we've got 2 stars grayed out. So we're using 2 stars, we're using 20% of the turn to do this combat. And that's because of the movement. They moved 20% and now they're attacking. So that makes complete sense, right? And you can do the same over here. These guys will move about 20%, join into the attack, and you see that nothing changed here. That's because they're still at 20%. Now if I grab a unit from over here on the left and move him until he gets into a position to initiate an attack, and we'll set that up, you see that 3 more stars just dropped out. Now if you're trying to maximize your tactical rounds, this is not what you want to be doing. You want to keep these burn stars as low as you can. So in this case, I'm going to cancel that attack. You see, you get those stars back, so that in a best case, this attack here is going to burn 20% of the turn. Now you don't know that for sure because there's other things involved with checks that have to be passed, and in some cases more rounds will be expended than what you expect. But generally speaking, we're getting an idea here that we're going to burn 20%. I'll move a couple more units up here. And then I'll hit the end turn, which will initiate the combats or resolve the combats. Now you see that it'll tell you right there, once all the combats are resolved, that what happened was, for that particular round, I burned 30% of the turn. That's not too bad. I still have 70% of the turn to work with, and that's kind of what it showed us at the beginning. It said that we were probably going to burn 20%, we ended up burning 30%. That's the way it goes. So let's continue on. Just keep in mind that at this point 30% of the turn is gone, so even units that I didn't move, like these over here, you can see they've already lost 30% of their movement allowances. So to maximize everything across the scenario's front, you'll want to keep units moving and attacking at a similar rate. So let's set up an attack with this unit, and you can see that because he's right in line at 30% down, he's not going to burn any stars. Well, he's going to burn 1 because that's the minimum, but it's not giving us an indication there because he's right in line with it. This unit here, again, has burned more of its movement allowance, so you can see he's going to burn 2 stars if he joins into that attack. In some cases you want that to happen because of whatever's going on. You can do it, it's not going to kill you, but just keep it in mind that if you're trying to maximize things, you want to get this unit out of that so that you can keep your stars in line. One aspect that you do have a little bit of control over are the loss settings when you're setting up an attack. Generally speaking, a minimize losses attack will take 1 round, a limit losses attack will take 2 rounds, and an ignore losses attack will take 3 rounds. That's generally speaking. It doesn't always go that way. Sometimes they burn more and sometimes they burn less. But just keep in mind that if you're going at minimized losses, more than likely across the board, that is, you're only going to burn up one round, and if you go to ignore losses, you're going to burn 3 or more easily. For an extreme example, if you're playing a scenario that has 1,000 units and you move at the beginning of the turn 1 unit 90% of its movement allowance and then set up an attack with that unit, it's going to burn 90% of the turn. Even if you don't move the other 999 units and don't set up any attacks with them, all of those 999 units are going to lose 90% of their turn because of that 1 unit. And on the opposite extreme, if you move all 1,000 units 10% of their movement allowance and attack with all of those units at minimized losses, there's a possibility that even though there's a lot of combat going on and there was overall a lot of movement, that all those combats might only take 10% or 1 round out of your turn. So keep your eyes on your stars over here, and you'll have much better success in maximizing your tactical rounds.